What you're about to listen to is a Bry-Fy production.
Yo, it's Bry-Fy coming live through your Wi-Fi. One-man show, but I'm feeling like a sci-fi. Comic books, video games, catching them all. Pokemon cards stacked, yeah, I'm ready to brawl. From Marvel to DC, I break it all down. Nifty nerd news, got the geeky rundown. Pop culture hits, movies and shows. I stay in the know while the fandom grows. So plug in, tune up, press play, let's ride. This is the Bry-Fy, baby, welcome to the vibe.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bry-Fy podcast. I'm your host, Bry-Fy, your comics guy, and this is a late episode. I was supposed to put this out sometime last week, but I gotta be honest, man, after Comicpalooza and then going back into work, I was just tired, man. I was just exhausted. And so, actually, I'm not 2 weeks, because the week after Comicpalooza, I posted the live podcast episode. So if you guys want to check that out, if you haven't already, you can go to the previous episode and check out the live podcast that my wife and I did. It was so much fun, but what's even better is there's a video aspect to it, which you can go check out as well. And by visiting my YouTube page, which is Bry-Fy, the Bry-Fy podcast, that's Bryfy podcast at YouTube. I don't know. But yeah, so you can check that out. And if you follow me on any social media, I have it posted on all my pages, so you can find that video and go check it out, man. But this week, I just kind of wanted to talk about, Comicpalooza, how everything went, my thoughts on it, and what I thought they did well, what I thought they could improve upon, just kind of like my afterthoughts of the show. And that's pretty much it. That's all this episode's really going to be. So it's not going to be a very long episode. Not a whole lot of stuff to it. We're going to hold off on any nifty nerd pop culture news until next week. Although there are some big things coming out here recently that I am really excited about. But I just really can't give you the time. And like when I say next episode is going to come out in like 2 or 3 days, because this is a late episode to make up for what I forgot to post last week. And then we'll try to get into the regular scheduled podcast stuff. So, yeah. Starting on Friday, first off, huge shout out to my mom, or as we call her, Momo, like my son calls her. She watched RJ for Casey and I for this weekend. And like, we take RJ to other conventions, comic conventions, card conventions, and things. But Comicpalooza is kind of something like just for me and my wife. Not that it's like an adult thing to do. It's just, this is kind of like our date weekend. And when we do the live podcast, it's way more helpful. It makes way more sense to not have RJ there, because he may become a distraction, which means we won't be able to give the best performance and show that the audience deserves. So huge shout out to my mom for watching him for the weekend, and also taking Friday off so she could watch him that day, and Casey and I could go up early and enjoy every hour of Comicpalooza, which is such a great thing. And Fridays to me are some of the best days to go to the convention, not because the tickets are cheaper, which they are, but because, most vendors have all of their products still, because no one's gone and bought everything. And also there's not a whole lot of people on Friday. They're all working and trying to get off work. Now people are coming out to the show, don't get me wrong, there are people at the convention on Fridays, but compared to a Saturday and even a Sunday, there's way less foot traffic, which is really nice. Friday was also really nice because we got to just really mosey, man, and really just check out what we're looking for. And I actually found my big thing for this weekend, and I got it on Friday. Or no, was it Friday or Saturday? I'm pretty sure it was Friday. Yeah, it had to have been Friday. I feel like it was, because when I came across it, I just couldn't let it go. So the big thing that I wanted for this Comicpalooza trip, and with a big thing I was trying to buy or find, was a Dark Charizard from the Team Rocket Pokemon card set from like way back late 90s, early 2000s. I forget when the Team Rocket set came out. And I'm trying to master set, meaning get all the cards for that set. And Dark Charizard, Dark Alakazam, and there's like 2 other holographic cards from that set that I still need. But that card can be anywhere from $200 to $300. And despite how awesome my podcast is, I don't make that kind of money, people. And so I have a extra base set Charizard, holographic base set Charizard. It's got a bit of damage on it though, but still, even damaged, it's worth roughly the same as the Dark Charizard, and maybe could potentially be worth more. And I was like, well, if I can trade 1 for 1 for this, that's a huge win in my book. 1, because I was going to sell this card anyway, and 2, I really want the Dark Charizard. You know, that's the card that I want. That's my chase right now. And so I'm willing to make that trade. Well, walking through the convention, finally, and there are quite a few card vendors and people who sell Pokemon cards at the Comicpalooza convention, which is great for me, right? It's Comicpalooza has just a lot of everything, a bit of everything, a lot of everything. And I knew there were going to be card vendors there, so I was really excited. And finally, lo and behold, actually, a friend, I didn't even find the booth myself, a friend of mine and a friend of the podcast showed me custom Pokemon cards that they got. They were cards that were made from the mobile phone game that we talk about a couple of times on the show, and I play on my phone. And there's cards on there that are exclusive to that game that you can't get, but people have been like making versions of those and selling them for really cheap. They're like $5 each, but they're really cool. They're really awesome cards. And they're like, hey, go check out this booth because they're selling these Pokemon Pocket cards and you got to check them out. So I went, and then I noticed they had some vintage stuff. So I was like, oh, well, I'll kind of scan it. And there it was. Ungraded, which was perfect. I'm not looking for a graded card. And it was actually, I would say, in lightly played condition. So great condition, especially for a card that's over 20 years old, right? And so I'm kind of eyeing it. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of scared. Like, I hate trying to haggle. I hate trying to be like a guy that's like, hey, I know you're trying to make money off this, but how about making less money or no money? Right? But then, I'm psyching myself up being like, look, we're trading for a card. They can sell this card, and arguably they could probably sell this card for more than they're asking for this Dark Charizard. So I asked the guy, I said, hey, man, you willing to make the trade? He's like, let me see what you got. Like, totally not expecting anything. And then I whip my bad boy out. Okay, maybe phrasing, right? But I take the Charizard out, base set Charizard holographic, and I show it to him. And he's looking at it, and he can't hide the excitement on his face. I know this dude is super stoked. I mean, base set Charizard, it's awesome, right? And so, like, we're both looking at it. He goes, talks to, I'm guessing, like, a higher up person, a supervisor. They take a look at it, and they're like, yeah, man, we're good. Like, we can do this, right? And I honestly was fully expecting them to, like, still make me pay, like, a difference, like, because most vendors are like, yeah, we'll buy it like 80% or whatever. But I think because, one, it was Friday, so they know they still have like the rest of the weekend to sell that card, which they probably will for $50 more than they would have sold the Dark Charizard. Like, I think, they made out, I think, well, like, everyone got what they wanted. They get a card that they can make some good money off of, and I get a card that I need for my collection that I want. And so, like, Friday was great, man. My wife and I got to watch the Cyanide and Happiness panel, which is really fun. And if you guys are familiar, or even if you're not, you can go to YouTube, check out Cyanide and Happiness, and they do all these crazy cartoons. They've got board games now, and they were, like, just showing, like, kind of their process, some stuff that they couldn't get made or didn't get made, some jokes that maybe didn't land the right way. It was just like a really cool introspective look at what goes into making a Cyanide and Happiness cartoon, and a lot of it is just swing and misses, guys. A lot of what my podcast is a huge swing and miss, but it was cool. It was a lot of fun. They told a lot of jokes. Believe it or not, the Cyanide and Happiness guys are actually funny, which was really cool. And, they weren't like full of themselves. Like, yeah, we made it big. Look at us now with our little stick figure cartoons. And those guys were really nice, really cool. Took questions from the audience. Answered a couple of my questions. I asked them stuff like which character they wish had a bigger role, or like that they felt was underutilized in their series, and so it was really funny and listening to them. And also because I don't really excuse me, follow Cyanide and Happiness all that closely, getting to hear like there's actual characters and storylines through some of these cartoons. So it was a lot of fun, man, and we really enjoyed that. Really, the rest of Friday was just observing the convention and checking out vendors. And then at the end of it, we went upstairs to go check out the Japanese arcade, because they bring that, I know they've been bringing it for at least the last 2 years. And, check out some of the games, because last year was pretty cool, man. They had tons of games up there, Japanese arcade games, like dance games and stuff like that. And it was all in like this nice little, quite a large area next to where the ballrooms were, where they had like the rave and they had some other performances. And so we go up there. There was nothing really. I think the rave was what was going on, or it's like their dance party that they do on Friday night. And then I started to notice something was the third floor looked way smaller. The space that they were using looked way smaller than I remember. And I don't know if I was just remembering things differently, but it definitely felt like they were using way less space on the third floor of the George R. Brown Convention Center. And then we get to where the Japanese games are, and there's like not even half of what they had last year. There was maybe 7 or 8 arcade games, and they weren't all like Japanese specific. Actually, I think the most popular game up there was a skee ball game. Like you get the ball, roll it down the thing, and it goes up into like the rings, and you get points. Like that had a line for people. Now there was a dance game, which wasn't like Dance Dance Revolution. It was more free form than that. There's some racing games and stuff like that, but like me and my wife Casey looked at each other and we're like, dude, this was way bigger last year, right? Like we were like trying to convince ourselves. And but yeah, no, I'm looking at pictures, and yeah, it was clearly bigger last year than it was this year. I don't know if it was the same people or not that were putting it together, or if maybe last year they thought they overshot and put too much. But last year, dude, like we couldn't even get on a game. We had to wait in lines to get games because people were just all over it, man. And so, I mean, people were still there, but it wasn't nearly as packed. But I think it's because there was really just not that many different, like, unique games to play there, which was kind of sad. So I don't know if maybe the vendor who supplies them or whatever could actually be there, or couldn't get all the stuff that they have there. Like, I don't know what they do. I don't know if they like rent them or how that works, but it was definitely a lot less than it was last year. The other thing that I was kind of disappointed in, because we were like, oh, well, if that's not there, well, let's go check out the video game area, because they usually, like last year, they had like, or for sure the year before, and I think maybe last year too, they had the retro gaming people where they had like tons of cool games like old school Smash Brothers and Halo and just like all those games, a couch co-op type game stuff that you would have. And then we go over and we find Smash Brothers, but everything's on like Nintendo Switches, which that's no big deal, right? But like none of the retro games over there that they used to have. And I thought that was really weird too. I asked a guy, I was like, hey man, because it looked like they were putting up for the night when I got there, but I thought it was supposed to be open to like midnight or later. I was like, hey man, like, where is everyone? Like, normally this place is pretty popping, dude. He's like, well, the retro guy couldn't make it this year, and so that's why it's really just us doing just Smash Brothers. And there's like a couple of people, but like I think I either just missed like the big Smash Brother event, or I don't know, maybe it wasn't as big as I thought it was. But like that's like the last year I remember my wife went to go watch like late shows, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go kill time, and I like played Halo, and it was tons of fun. In which that would have made a lot more sense this year because they had the Halo voice actors at Comicpalooza. So I was kind of disappointed in like the gaming selection that they had this year at Comicpalooza, and I feel like it's been better in the last couple of years, like the past 2 years at least. So that was like one thing that I was really kind of bummed out about. I really like, because I'm a big gamer and I love video games, and so I wish I I wish we could have had the same video game experience that we've had for the past 2 years this Comicpalooza. But based on what I heard from other vendors there for that, like scheduling just didn't line up apparently, or at least that's what they made me believe. Is scheduling didn't really line up. And so Friday honestly ended pretty peacefully. Nothing too bad. I was like, oh, that kind of sucks, but no big deal, right? Got a whole weekend of things and fun stuff to do. Plus, I got to get ready for my live show for Saturday. So come on Saturday, let's do it. And Saturday was a blast. It always is. Now that we have already kind of walked the floor of Comicpalooza, we have ideas of places we want to go back to and now start purchasing things and looking for stuff for RJ. And so we're doing that. But then, got to get ready because the live show is going to be happening. So and also our friends are really there. More of our friends are there. So get to split up, hang out with people, and really enjoy. And then the live show happened, and our live show was right after lunch. It was 1:15, and it went swimmingly, amazingly. You guys can check out the video if you don't believe me. I don't take video of the crowd, but you can hear them interacting. We had almost every seat filled for our live show, which we've been doing Trash or Treasure for the last 3 years now, and it does extremely well. A lot of people have been showing up. The first year we had a good number. The second year was completely full, and this year was very full as well. And so getting to interact with the crowd and talking about subject matter that's pretty general for a lot of people, I think plays well into what we do, and it's a lot of fun. Me and my wife really enjoy it, and it seems like the people at Comicpalooza really enjoy it as well. And also, we had a great time slot, 1:15, right after lunch or right during lunch, right in that time frame, and where they have the podcast stage is near where people are eating. So they can sit in tables and eat, or they can come over and sit in our section and eat and participate. So it's we catch people at a really good time. And I think it's interesting enough to get them to stop and check it out and have a little bit of fun. So Comicpalooza has definitely set us up for success with that and doing our live show, which is really nice. And then we stayed after because our friends Brandon and Randy from the Colt 45 podcast did their live show, which is really awesome. And you can check out all of Colt 45 stuff. Their things are on Instagram. Well, they are on Instagram, but on YouTube, and they have their own podcasts as well. But their YouTube and video quality is great because they have people from White Cup Entertainment is it Entertainment or White Cup ENT that help sponsor and shoot stuff for them. So it's really awesome, man. And White Cup does really cool shirts. I actually grabbed 3 shirts from them this year because they do cool Houston-inspired superhero stuff and just badass stuff. I think it's really cool. I don't know, one of my favorites is my Astro shirt that I got that has orbit with a grill, and there's just a really nice slab car on it, and I don't know, it looks badass. I love it a lot. And so they did put on a great show. It was a lot of fun. And then they do a late night trivia show where things get a lot more raunchier, and language gets crazier, and I'm in that video as well. And actually the team that I was on for that trivia, we won the whole thing, which is how I got another one of my White Cup shirts, was because it was one of the prizes for winning the trivia contest. So that was a lot of fun. But before that, one of the other great shows that we got to witness and be a part of was the Pokemon Drag Queen show, which I will be honest, when I saw that they were doing a Pokemon, first off, I saw a Pokemon Drag Queen and I was like, oh, this piques my interest because this looks like it would be really entertaining and a lot of fun. And then I was kind of like, well, it's probably going to be really campy, or it's probably just going to be drag queens, but kind of making fun of Pokemon and maybe not really just kind of profiting off of the theme, right? But when I tell you that Miss Queen Hannah Santana knows ball, yo, this bitch knows ball, dude. They were making crazy deep lore jokes. I was thinking, oh, they're gonna come out dressed as Pikachu and Squirtle, basic ass Pokemon. These people were coming out as Suicune, as crazy legendaries that you never seen. The host was a Tentacruel the whole time. These were not just basic ass Pokemon. Like these were like creative decision type Pokemon. And the dancing was fun and the lip syncing was hilarious. Like that was like, to me, that was just basic drag queen stuff. But like the Pokemon aspect of it was like, oh, this is like legit hilarious Pokemon, just passionate Pokemon people having fun, man, and like just doing drag, but being really like actual Pokemon fans. And I loved every minute of it. It was absolutely hilarious. I think people who are scared of drag shows, are very uneasy about them, need to understand one thing. They ain't there to touch you. Like they ain't there to like, unless you want to be interacted with. And I don't mean like just physically touched, but like if you do not want to be a part of the show, you do not have to be a part of the show, and you can still enjoy the show. Like no one's going there and gonna just start dry humping you for no reason, right? They're there to have a good time and make money, and you're there to have a good time and spend money. But it was a blast. And then after that, my wife, this is where we split for the night. Well, not the whole night, but this is where I went to the trivia with Colt 45. And then my wife went to the burlesque show that Comicpalooza put on with the Ken dolls. And they weren't here last year, but they were there the year before, I believe. And they always put on a really fun show. And my wife really enjoys it, but I also really enjoy hanging out with Brandon and Randy, so I wanted to go do that. So that's kind of like the like splitting point for us. I would love to be able to go to the Ken dolls and Colt 45, but if I got to make a choice, I got to choose my bros, man. And my drag bros now and my Colt 45 bros. But Saturday was great, man. Getting to do that, getting to check out, like they have wrestling throughout the day. So they're doing fights, and there's like a Comicpalooza championship. So those are really cool. And on top of the wrestling, if you still like fights, there's the full still combat guys that are, you know, knights in armor beating the absolute dog crap out of each other, which is hilarious to watch. I think I posted a video on my TikTok. It might be on my Instagram as well. If I didn't, I'm going to post it again so you guys can check it out. But it was a lot of fun, man. And getting to just enjoy those is always tons of fun. Normally I go to more panels, but this year I really didn't, man. There wasn't too many panels that stuck out to me that I was like, oh, I really need to check this out. But the entertainment stuff, like the shows and things like that, was more my speed this year and a little more of like what I wanted to check out. So that was a lot of fun. I think the only thing that I didn't like about Saturday is my live podcast time slot was the same time they were doing the Halo voice actors big whatchamacallit, not meet and greet, because they did meet and greets throughout the day, but their interview or their panel. That's what I was thinking of. The word is panel. So they were all in the big assembly hall. They're talking about Halo and things like that. So I'm really sad I had to miss that because I'm a huge lover of Halo and that whole franchise. But I mean, put on a good show, had a lot of people listen and be a part of it. So I'll live with it. Hopefully someone filmed the Halo panel and we'll post it online somewhere so I can check it out. But, well, I have yet to see it. So, but I've been following the voice actors now, and they are absolutely hilarious. And I can't wait till they post some content from their Houston convention to see what they thought of Houston and if they had a good time. Hopefully they had a good time, and hopefully they'll come back for another Comicpalooza, because I would love for another opportunity to meet the Master Chief and Cortana. Cut to Saturday, and that's when I had another panel that I was a part of, a live podcast actually, and that was with the Comic Cast, Mike and Zhang from Comic Cast, where we talked about Project Hail Mary and the book and the movie, what we thought about them both, and how they were both great. And it was just a blast, man, getting to just sit there and just gush about a franchise. Well, it's one book and one movie, so I don't know if you'd call it a franchise, but gush about this story and just how much we loved each version of it and how each version was different but excelled in their storytelling, man. And so you can check that out. I'll try to post a link to it if it's hard to find, but it's Comicast. over on like YouTube's and podcasts, kept catching up, things like that. And like I said, I just had a blast. There was 4 of us on the panel, and we're all. I don't think any of us had anything bad to say about it. I think we all really loved it, and all. Like, I'm trying to remember, but it was all such a blur. It happened so fast, and I was just in such love with Rocky and Ryan Gosling. I mean, he's a big part of why we like that movie as well. But yeah, so Sunday was really great. We spent the rest of Sunday running around trying to find last minute gifts and things, and like try to find the perfect gift for our son RJ, because we got to apologize for being gone for so long. And then it was like, I don't know, man. I was feeling like, dude, I was looking for that next big thing. Like, I knew I had the Charizard and I really loved that, but I was just looking, not necessarily for a Pokemon card, but like I wanted an item for me that I could really enjoy, and I was having such a hard time figuring out what does Brian want, what does Bry-Fy want. And then finally I stopped at a booth that I walked by a couple of times, and I was just, and it was like a light booth. They do the fake neon lights and stuff, and they had a Houston Astros one that would go great in my bedroom because it's a mix of Pokemon and Houston Astros stuff. And I sat there just kind of mulling it over. We had gotten RJ a Legend of Zelda one. It was like a Z for Zelda with a Master Sword going through it. And my wife was like, you want it. You keep staring at it. And she was right. I did want it. And so that was my gift to myself. My big gift to myself was my fake neon light that's now in my office. And I love it when it's lit up. It makes everything pop. It looks cool, man. So that was like, I got to get the cool thing for me. In case you got a bunch of fan fiction and BL stuff, boy love stuff, because she likes that kind of thing, which I don't know if I should be worried or not, but it'd probably be fine. But so yeah, we had a great time. We did cosplay, we did dress up. Casey, who was she? She was Winry from Full Metal Alchemist. She was someone else. I don't remember who her someone else was. I just remember Winry from Full Metal Alchemist. I was Brock from Pokemon. I was Professor Oak from Pokemon. And I was Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket from Pokemon. So I was very Pokemon out. I know she was she was Ace from One Piece. That was her Friday. She was Ace from One Piece. Then she was Winry from Full Metal Alchemist. And then the last day she was going to dress up as Zelda from The Legend of Zelda. However, she decided not to because she was just tuckered out, man. Sunday is kind of like a let's try to relax day. And I think I should have done the same thing because by Sunday, my feet were killing me. I was absolutely exhausted and tired, and I wanted to go home. And so we did. We left a bit early from Comicpalooza on Sunday. But at that point, man, we felt like we saw everything that we wanted to see. There wasn't really any shows going on that we wanted to stay for. Everything was kind of wrapped up by that point. And so I was like, hey, man, you ready to vámonos? Let's go. I think like one of the other pet peeves of mine, or the other thing I was kind of disappointed in, which I don't know if it was entirely Comicpalooza's fault or if it was entirely their decision, but they usually have a bunch of food truck vendors that they let park outside the event, and you can go outside and eat from those food truck vendors. However, this year there were absolutely 0 food trucks for Comicpalooza. They had some stuff on site, like inside the convention center, but it was only I don't know. I thought the selection was kind of limited versus what the food trucks would bring. The only good thing about that is the food trucks are typically out in the hot Houston, Texas sun, which is friggin' awful. Thankfully, a lot of them have canopies and portable fans to help. But it's hot as hell outside. So that's one downside of having the food trucks. But the variety of food and flavors that the food trucks bring is a huge uptick in my opinion. And honestly, it is worth the trade-off of the sucky ass heat having just the awesome flavors. Because I don't know, man, I wasn't really that impressed with the interior food vendors that they had for Comicpalooza. I think really the only thing we ate inside was popcorn, because the convention, if you have a badge, you can come and go as you please. Like nothing's keeping you there. It's not like you can't leave and then not come back. So like there's tons of restaurants in downtown Houston. We ate at Saltgrass Steakhouse, which was right there. We went to a smoothie place to eat. We ate at Biggio's, which is in the hotel that we stay in, the Marriott Houston, and that's like a really cool restaurant to eat at too. So like there's nothing like, I don't know. I just thought it was weird there weren't food trucks, because I can't think of a reason why there wouldn't be food trucks, other than either the city wouldn't let them park there or that Comicpalooza didn't want them there. So I'm not sure. I think the only other thing, and it wasn't too big of a deal, but it did make some congestion, was they're doing a lot of construction for the World Cup, which is going to be happening soon. So they're doing a lot of last minute things to try to fix some of the infrastructure there. Also, a bunch of high schools and I guess colleges were having their graduations that weekend as well. So there's a lot of traffic in the elevators and just going to and from that area, because where the convention's at, it was close to the baseball stadium where a lot of the graduations were happening, and then the hotels were full with a lot of people there for graduations. But that's just kind of part of being in the fourth largest city in the United States. There's just going to be tons of people there. Overall, though, I had a great time at Comicpalooza. We had another successful event. It was a lot of fun, got some cool swag, and spent way more money than I planned on, like I do every year. Like you go in having a plan, like the TikTok videos, like, how much money are you going to spend at the thing? Woo, $20. How much did you really spend? 20,000. Like that's kind of how it feels, right? Even though, God, I would probably shoot myself if I spent that much money. But man, it was a lot of fun. I just want to give a huge shout out to Comicpalooza for allowing Casey and I to go cover it, be a part of the podcast community there. It's always a lot of fun, man. I always enjoy it. And if you are listening to the podcast because you found me at Houston Comicpalooza, please say something. Please, hi, comment, like, subscribe. I'd love to hear from you. It's always fun to interact with people that we meet and just be a part of each other's lives. If you like what you hear, if you don't like what you hear, let me know. Give me a holler, give me a shout out. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. But that's gonna be it, guys. It's kind of late, man. I'm recording this at 8:45 into PMs. I tried to do this twice on my phone on the way to work, and it was just going to be like a really lo-fi episode. But I'm having issues with my phone's lightning port, where the lightning cable part goes into, and so my lav mics were not working because they kept disconnecting from the phone, and I was getting very frustrated, and I almost hit a raccoon. So I figured, you know what? Maybe this is God's way of telling me, just stop, Brian. Stop recording while driving. It's dangerous. So I did. And now we're here on a super late episode. But you know what? I'm safe and at home. And you're safe in somewhere. Hopefully at home. Maybe in the car. Who knows? And we get to do this all over again next week. But thank you guys so much. We will see you guys later. Bry-Fy out.